Superman sighed as he flew around the Earth, somewhere between the Earth's atmosphere and outer space. He could see the Earth below him, all the green and blue, clouds and water, yet almost touch and feel all the stars around him and just above him. The sun's heat felt good as he slowly let the many sounds and voices in his ears and heart and mind go quiet for a while, so that he could rejuvenate his power from the sun's warm heat. He felt the heat radiating in his core and in his entire body, and he could almost feel his alien cells coming back to life inside him. Almost see and feel and taste the green darkness of the kryptonite poison leaving his mind, body and soul as he flew and drifted gently in the quiet, cold air, his body always giving off the only heat or light up here. He stretched out strongly as he flew, hazarding to let go and playfully twist and turn and flip haphazardly for a while in the zero gravity, stretching out his hurt side where Lex Luthor had stabbed him and broken off a very long piece of kryptonite in his back. His thugs gaining a good unfair 5-1 advantage for a beating that had taken place on Lex Luthor's new island that he was creating. An island of stone and glass that he had found out too late was made nearly entirely of pure kryptonite crystal. Yes, but with the help of Lois Lane and her human husband and his very own young son, that he had just recently found out about. He had destroyed Lex's self-centered plan for the new island overlordship that would have replaced the United States as the new United States of Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor alone, and managed to destroy it from its heart of poison, from the inside out, using his own body as a nuclear weapon right to its poisonous and deadly core. Then using his last drop of energy, he was able to hurl it into space, forever. Superman's last sight of the world was the toxic rock hurtling out into space as his bright light dimmed inside of him and he fell to Earth with a meteoric crash, his eyes going dark at last. Even as his light struggled to hold on, the humans powerless to do anything for him, that he could not pull through physically, emotionally, or even spiritually himself. Deep in thought, he stretched and flew, weaving and playing, a little bit playfully for a while, in the comparative calmness of space, playing like a younger child at times like this, as it was the only way to keep his strength up before going back to Earth, and the endless voices calling out for help, in need, always for him, his leadership and his safety. And he always tried all he could, but he was only one being, and not human at that. He sometimes was at a loss for who and where to turn for guidance and help when he himself needed it. After all, who on Earth could save Superman? Just then, he saw what looked like a burning comet shooting down toward Earth, right in front of him. It was indeed crashing towards Earth with the chaotic force, from his acute estimation, heading towards somewhere near the northern US. Here we go again. He sighed a bit, but thankful for his brief, and maybe even selfishly stolen break, from saving the humans from danger. Flying quickly, to stop what would surely annihilate half of Canada or beyond if it landed, he caught up with the Gaia meteorite as it entered the Earth's atmosphere, as it was immediately burning up in his strong grip. But as the clear ice burned away, he could see a figure inside, a female. He could now see with the insignia of Krypton on her chest, just like his. And as his mind wobbled with the concept that there could be another survivor, so long lost, from his home planet, that he lost his bearings, but surely not his grip, not for a second even in his panic, as they both landed onto the Earth. They landed with a huge thud in the Arctic Circle, and as he was able, he quickly crawled over to the also injured female, as she was struggling to awaken. And clearly in great pain, he looked her entire body over, using his X-ray vision to check her for damage internally. But to his surprise, he could not see through her like the humans. So he used his outer vision to assess if anything was wrong. She was clearly tall, strong, blonde, maybe seemingly as impenetrable as iron, like himself. And he found himself drawn to her and pulled himself over to her, resting next to her, slightly over her. As she woke up slowly, And Superman found himself looking into her beautiful and somehow familiar face, carefully, as her eyes fluttered open, looking at him with great innocence and confusion. And he softly touched her cheek instinctually as she spoke. Kal-El? And he stopped like a man dead. Kaela? She woke up fully, and they embraced tightly, both crying endlessly. Kaela, my God, it's you. I thought you were a myth, gone forever, with the rest of our people. Kal-El broke the icy rocks surrounding them with his fists. Listened to my father's words over and over again in the icy fortress of solitude. That is the only true home and family I have ever known from my world. And he said to me over and over, there was a friend for me, a partner, a woman, a being sent, same as me. But I could never decipher what he meant or how this could be. Kal-El, it's really you, the woman looked at him, absolutely amazed. Yes, Kal-El, I survived thanks to your mother and my mother. At the very last minute before she died, she found the keys to one of the survival ships they had prepared for escape that they never got a chance to use and gave them to her. She sent me off in it. And I have survived on it ever since. They gave me the archival crystals, too, so that I could also understand what had happened to us all. And I learned of you from them, and their voices from the great beyond. Just like you, I was also able to track you, and set my course to find the last of my kind, on a world called Earth. She pronounced it strangely, he noticed. Earth. She tried again. Anyway, she laughed at herself so, as he smiled knowingly, I could see all of your many exploits in the many years it took me to get here to you. She smiled, innocuously. You've been a busy Kryptonian. She laughed grimly lightly, as she fell back onto the ground a bit again, still a little bit fainty. Is there kryptonite near here? She suddenly looked around fearfully. Not anymore, he said resolutely. Through the last of it, that was known to me. Into space a few months ago. I've been recovering ever since. He rubbed his side grimly as she straightened up toward him concernedly and touched his shoulder gently. My God, a few months ago, you said? She fell back on her arms. My ship was hit by a huge meteorite that I was able to identify as kryptonite right before the ship was destroyed, and I was rendered into the vastness of space completely without protection of any kind. He took her hands intently concerned. My God, Kaela, I had no idea. He held her to him. I won't let that happen again, she cried onto his chest. My God, wow, she cried a bit. I guess it's pure fate that I had already set my trajectory for Earth. Kal-El held her to him tightly. What a strange twist of fate this is then. Destiny? He touched her face softly. Destiny. Indeed, she agreed. And they kissed ever so softly. Gently, almost afraid the other might disappear somehow if they weren't ever so careful with each other, now that they had finally found each other. I'm so glad you're here, Kaela. Finally, you're real, he said in wonderment, looking into her eyes, and she into his in equal abject wonderment. I thought all these years I was losing my mind, he continued, that my real father, Jor-El, had been mistaken in the archives he left for me. That I was a fool to keep believing, or to even try to keep hope alive. I was afraid too, Kal-El. I searched the crystals every night, wondering if they could be true, that there was another like me left in the vast and lonely universe. I visited and searched so many planets over the years, met so many types of beings, with so many different traits, qualities, ideas, personalities, physical makeups and looks, etc., but I could never find Earth, nor you, never the other survivor like myself. I wondered where could you be this Earth? Where in all the universe was the one for me that our parents' planned and fated partnership could be? He nodded in agreement, finally feeling truly secure around a woman for the first time in his existence. He realized Ka-Ella just felt like home, his real home, forever. And she looked into his eyes, and he knew she saw and understood his very thoughts, and she nodded in agreement softly, because she did. And they kissed again, as he took her hands to his chest, and they helped each other up, and limped to the nearby farm town. even Kryptonians needing shelter from the gravity of Earth's ravages this time. And they found friendly townspeople who welcomed them, and they spent the bright nights snuggled in warm blankets by the fire drinking hot tea for hours, talking about everything they had experienced, finally to someone who really understood. And they held each other for days and days as the news spread, and the helicopters and crowds started to swarm them. And Kal-El helped Kaella get used to the human beings and their endless interest in their kind. And she took to it all quickly and well. And soon enough, they were saving lives together and creating more of their own too. And the universe and the Earth was saved and everyone lived happily ever after, forever and ever.